for joining us for episode 2 of iPen podcast, interviews and conversations with myself, Nanette Buchanan, and Felice Reeves. We are here with episode 2. If you missed episode 1, please go back and check episode 1. We're here with episode 2 with Mr. Aaron Woodson. Great writer. We got into his transitioning in episode 1, and now we're going to dig a little bit deeper. You started with poetry.
Yes.
Why poetry?
I think poetry is so it has its own language, its own universal language. Poetry you find in rap. Rap music, poetries and dance, poetries and theater, and poetry. The form itself is writing, and what drew me to poetry was the fact that each like way art form is a way to express yourself. I believe that poetry allows you to escape, but also deal with reality at the same time. And watching people like Maya Angelou, who I truly, truly adore, one of my favorite poets, along with so many others. Edgar Allan Poe is another one, Langston Hughes, Shakespeare. Those people paved the way for people like me to be where I am, to be able to write.
And the thing about poetry, I think myself starting out that way, and that's why I said it that way, that you started out with poetry. I too started out with poetry. And the thing that I think about poetry that makes it so unique is it doesn't have to follow someone else's guide. It's more or less your own flow, your own feelings, your own. And if they don't like it and don't understand it, eventually they will.
Exactly.
I've heard people that go back and read Shakespeare, and they go back and read Maya Angelou, and they go back and read some of the what we would call when we were younger twists. We couldn't understand, what is he talking about? What is he saying? But as you get older and you live a little,
it's like,
living a little far.
Light bulb goes off.
Yes, when you get older and you live a little, you can go back to that poem and say, you know what? I know what this is. I know how it is. It's almost like reading Psalms in the Bible. You read Psalms in the Bible and you're like saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, what are they saying? And you have to go back and read it again. But when you get older, you live a little.
So what is the focus on? I have not had the pleasure of reading your poetry yet, but what is your focus? What do you focus on in your poetry?
Well, that's a good question, Felicia. What I focus mostly on my poetry is love, the aspect of love. Love is a very broad term, and it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I start from love, I guess, the inner part, and work my way out. And
well, that's interesting.
That's different.
No, tell us that. How does that work? Inner and then outer. How does that work?
I just think that, having a place like coming, your heart, I know like a lot of people say, follow your heart and stuff like that. But in the word of God, it says, the heart is desperately wicked. There's issues of life.
Sure.
So I think love comes from a place like your environment. It's like, how we're created, how love was created, how love was formed was just so incredible. Just when you see, births that happen, like babies being born, breathing in fresh air, being in relationships with different people, or at least one person, hopefully you're in just one, but just not multiple, but just, some of us have been in a few, but, love is just, even like when you go into someone's home, you can almost feel the love in a house. Like, like a house, when you buy a house, it's like, oh, okay, it's a house. But when you bring the family into it, it becomes a home.
So he's quoting Luther now, right?
Yeah. But not only that, the thing that
that.
you brought up that I think rolled over into you doing part 2 of your novel, and then you did it into a film to make it into film. Did you think that in transitioning, and I know that we interpret films all the time, just like we interpret what we read, but do you think in transitioning it was a loss of anything? Did you feel that you lost any of the concept or any of the meaning that you wanted to portray when you took that one novel and then turned it into an entirely different piece? Or did you feel that you needed to do that to make an impact, more or less, with the piece?
To answer your question, I felt like I wanted to make an impact, basically leave a legacy. Because I'm always thinking a little bit more broader and bigger. And so, the whole thing, how the script came about from the poetry that I've written, which the script is called Aaliyah and Troy, by the way. Me and my friend Mike Messier, we both wrote it together, and we just recently made some revisions to it, just to make it better. And just the whole premise, real quick, behind Aaliyah and Troy is you have a former military person, which would be myself, because basically it's about me. But you have an ex-military man named Troy. He's pretty much out of the military. He's trying to find his way through civilian life. He meets Aaliyah, a beautiful young black gym instructor, and she's a single mom, with a little daughter named Rosa. And so they strike up a really good friendship, Aaliyah and Troy. And but Troy starts falling for her. And Aaliyah is on the fence. She's kind of indifferent, but she likes Troy's company, but she's entangled with her baby daddy named Brett. And so to make a long story short, Aaliyah and Troy, they're building their relationship while there's this love triangle, going on. And Aaliyah introduces Troy to the poetry scene. And that's where poetry comes involved. And there's a tournament that at Club Expressions that Aaliyah's sister Monica announces, and she wants Troy to be a part of it. And Troy he's never written any poetry before. He's out of his comfort zone. And so then from there, you have this showdown between, you have Troy, who finally meets Brett, and don't want to give too much away, but they're pretty much they all each character has something to prove. You have and I just wanted to portray each aspect of each character has something that they're dealing with. Like Troy is dealing with his PTSD. He goes to group therapy with the VA, and and he's also a man of faith. So you have Aaliyah, who's battling custody with Brett, with her daughter, and Brett wants to be with Aaliyah, but he doesn't know how to commit. He comes off as a jerk. He's always out in and out of their lives. So
wow. So this has it. Have you made it into the movie, or are still in the process?
We're still in the process. We have the script. We just got to get funding for the movie.
So are you going the independent route, or are you shopping it to be picked up by somebody? What are you trying to do with that?
The idea at first was to get picked up by somebody, but as of recently, we are looking to do this independent. That way we have our name and our image and our likeness.
Yes,
there you go.
Yes,
that's right. Own it. Yes.
And the thing about it is, I think that we've all been taught now by the master, Tyler, that you know, going that route is a long route, but the thing about it is it's definitely a route that you can hone in on and own for yourself. I think that we're learning now that with all of the things that go on, that we don't have to depend on someone else not only stepping in but taking over. And I think that's where the problem comes in, that they step in and then want to take over. So now let me go back with something that you said earlier in reference to purging. You were saying that, you know, sometimes it's therapeutic. You even mentioned that with the character Troy, saying he's going for post-traumatic. Without going into our episode 3, let's talk just a little bit of how did the writing for you, especially the poetry, were you writing while you were in the active duty? Did you begin it there, or did it evolve after that?
Well, actually, I started writing when I was around 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I started before I joined the military. And it was just simple poems. Like some of the things I would write were just towards for the girls, you know, something innocent, you know. I was like, okay, I had that little fairy tale type of writing, you know, like, oh, okay, kind of like fluffy stuff. And then when I joined the military, it became more consistent, and I started writing more about, you know, deeper stuff, things I kind of experience and deal with. And I've seen how my writing has evolved up, and even up until now, it's taking on a different shape, a different identity, based on places I've been, stages in my life, maybe people I've been around, and even music that I listen to. It's all these different factors that tie into my writing. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, I was going to ask you, do you remember your first poem?
My first, I believe my first poem was called "Tell Me, Girl." It was a short poem. I don't remember it word for word, but
well, guess what? We wouldn't know if it's wrong. So
okay. Like, tell me, girl, do you want to be with me? Because I want to be with you. Tell me, girl, what's it gonna be? Him or me? Something along those lines.
Oh, so you was a Mac Daddy at 15.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. I'm loving this. And this is episode 2 of our interview with Aaron Woodson. We want you to join us every Friday in the month of March. We're going to be airing his episodes. And Mr. Woodson, I thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And we're going to go into episode 3. Stand by next week and make sure that you watch us. Make sure that you tune in.